Okay, so we just ran that and it worked. We can see obviously we've made a bit of a change to the remote charge, as it were, which is quite good. Now we're going to go back and do some more editing. Now, you don't need to unpack again. You only need to run the unpack once, so just remember you've still got your original MISC VPP PC file in there. So if anything goes wrong, you can just run unpack MISC bat again, and it will overwrite everything and return everything to normal. Hopefully that won't happen. But anyway, let's go into MISC, and we're going to go, this time, we're going to go into weapons, which is here. Okay, right, and this is what happens if you open it with Notepad. It's all black text, very hard to read, there's not very much distinction. If you open it with Notepad+++, it starts like that, but if you go to language and XML, just give it a second, and there we are. Right, this time we're going to alter some more aspects of the remote charge. So we need to look for name, and then an arrow, charge placer. Okay, so here we are with the remote charge. I do know that this is the one, except that it's not. Wherever you see this, editor, category, entries, MP overrides, that means that this weapon is only for multiplayer. You won't see any difference in single player at all. And I've never really bothered modifying for multiplayer because I never play it. So yeah, that is the one that you want to avoid. So just find next then, and further down there'll be one which says, yeah, entries Guerrilla in the editor section, and this is the one that you want. Right. Okay, first off what we're going to do is we're going to modify these aspects of the remote charge weapon. Okay, the max rounds, we're going to make that 80. And then, let's just see. Let's alter the speed of it as well. So if you look down here, we've got information about the projectile that, well, basically the projectile is the remote charge. The ones we're going to edit is max speed, make that 50, and start speed 50. So Mason will now be able to throw remote charges more than a couple of meters. He's definitely not going to be any good at the shot put in the Olympics. Okay. Alright, and there's one other thing to make you aware of. In here we've altered the default weapon amount, the the max rounds, but you need to look further down for the max rounds upgrade, which is when you get the max rounds upgrade for a weapon, that's the value, that's the maximum ammo after that point. So let's make that one 300. Okay, so we'll save that one. Also, another weapon that another file that you can go and edit, and I'll introduce this now, although we won't actually test it. If you look in your XTBLs and find upgrades, which is upgrades.xtbl, and obviously format it to XML, let's close that. This has information about the upgrades. I've not done that much with it. There is one section though, remote charge count, which does exactly what you think. It talks about the price of the remote charge upgrades. The cost value is how much in salvage it costs, and the first one is the one that you get automatically, and the value is how many slots you unlock. So you can put one of these. Since I seem to have 12 in that particular save game, I'm going to say value for the 12th level is going to be 60. So that would mean that I can place 60 remote charges at once. It's just basically the thrown limit. Okay, and also you can alter the cost. I'm not going to do anything with that. I'll save that. And if it just so happens that we test it, that's fine. Okay. So yeah, that's some more changes, and we'll just save that there, and we'll compile it, and we'll see if we can now throw it further. Okay, yep, as we can see here, just from the weapons cabinet, remote charges I've now got up to 300. You can make the values as large as you want to though. Right, yeah, let's get in our vehicle, and we'll go and find somewhere that's good to blow up. Okay, here we are at the, no, it's not the Harrington Nano Bridge, which one is this one? Well, it's the EOS Bridge. I can't remember what it's called. Hold on, it's got a sign, isn't it? EOS Bridge. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so let's just try. Well, those are certainly flying a lot farther, which is good. And let's see how many we can make. Oh dear, it's automatically collapsing as well, that's no fun. Right, okay, but that is the 12th. And there we go, we can still keep throwing them. Oh, why not? Okay, so we're going to do a couple of different things now. We're going to move on from the remote charge almost straight away. One thing that I'm going to say first, we're just going to touch on this, but there's a lot, well, there's a fair amount that you can do with this one. Squads.xtbl, if you open that one and obviously format it so it looks nice to read, if you go down it and find, because these, again, they've got name tags which define them, so that's pretty helpful. If you look for the one that's player ally squad, this one, and just make that one 1, that is the name of the group of, well, this squad which the player is always a part of. So if you say that it's going to have at least one member, more than Alec Mason, then you should have a follower or two. So that's saved. Okay, the next change we're going to do is we're going to modify the M16 assault rifle. Basically what we're going to do is, are we in the remote charge? Yes, we are. We're going to make a copy of the everything from the close explosion tag to the beginning explosion tag for the remote charge and copy it, and we're basically going to paste in another copy because we're going to make a brand new explosion, except this one is obviously going to have a different name. It's going to be called bullet damage. And as you may have guessed, what we're going to do now is make the M16 damage buildings. Okay, so change the name to bullet underscore damage, then change the radius to 0.25. The impulse, change that down to 6,000. Okay, and we'll change structural damage, we'll change that to 12,000. It will need to be lower because otherwise it's going to create sort of like a remote charge type explosion, which is going to be massively overpowered with every bullet. Okay, and we'll get rid of these camera shake lines, camera shake type, multiplier and fall off, because we don't want those. And also this material effects section, get rid of all of that. So it goes player vehicle multi, and then player vehicle impulse multi, and then this section here, effects, get rid of that. That's all the visual elements of this explosion gone, because it's just going to be damage to the buildings. It's not going to be a visible explosion. I mean, you could leave it like that if you wanted, but it will slow things down a little bit. And here's one, unique ID. This one, this value needs to be individual for each weapon. You can't have two with the same one, or it'll cause a lot of difficulties and things won't work right. If you look in on faction files, let's see, faction files, in the files section, I have actually put up a tool which you can use to scan the file. It's called Crinkle's Unique ID Lister. You can scan the file and it will make a list of all the unique IDs that have been used, so you can make sure that you're not using one that's already been used, which is better than going through individually and just marking out which ones have been used and which haven't. Okay, so we'll set that to 200, which I'm given to understand is okay. Right. And that's sorted now. Now we need to go into weapons and find name arrow M16. Okay, here it is. And it's the not entries MP overrides, it's entries EDF, so that's good, that's the right version. And just above damage scaling max, put a new line in, oops, or two if you're feeling fruity, no, just one, and type in explosion in a tag, and then bullet underscore damage / explosion. Okay, now that's going to tell it that the bullet damage explosion is associated with the M16, so it will go off straight away. Okay, so there's just one further change we need to make. If we go to explosions and look for name rocket as such, and we'll find the, oh, here it is, the rocket explosion. Oh. We're going to change the radius for this weapon to 33, and we're also going to edit one other thing. We're going to put a new line in and type in sort of like the tag format, duration. And I'm going to say for this one 25,000 close duration. Oops, not like that. Duration. There we go. Right, okay, so that's that in. Now duration works in milliseconds, so 25,000 would be 20 seconds. And that just prolongs the explosion, makes it not instant but progressive. Okay. If you're not sure what I mean, that's no problem, because we're about to compile everything and test it, and I'll see you in game. Okay, and as you can see here, I've got my little follower, which is kind of nice, but I don't really need them. Let's just see. Okay, we can now throw remote charges right up there. But we're not really here to test that weapon. We're here to test our M16, so let's go and find a nice little... This bit will do. Okay, so that works. If anything though, it's a little bit overpowered, so we might want to go and make some further changes to that just to reduce its impulse and structural damage a bit, but I'll leave that at your discretion because we won't be coming back to that. The other thing to test, of course, is the rocket explosion. Now this one should be quite amazing, hopefully. So we'll just shoot the rocket. Oh, my person's getting in the way now. Shoot the rocket. Yeah. Building now comes apart over a larger amount of time. And not just the building. Everything. How far up does it go? Ah, just that far. Okay. So that's the testing done for that, and that seems to work, and let's go back and make some more changes.